My name is Keith Beavers, and as much as I enjoy watching the Great British Bake Off, there is a serious lack of peanut butter being incorporated into dishes. Just saying. Wine lovers, this week we're going to take a break from diving deep into some of the most iconic American wines. And we're going to take this time this week to speak about something that's very important, Zinfandel. Not only do I want to talk about this variety because no one talks about it and we should be talking about it, like we really should be talking about it, is that as I research American wine history, I've been researching American wine history for a few years now, and every year I find out more stuff. But one thing that's constant about the American wine history, especially on the West Coast, is the ever-present vine of Zinfandel. It's there all the time. There was the Mission grape, and then there was Zinfandel. And then there's all these other varieties. But Zinfandel seems to be a constant presence in California. And then at some point, it just gets forgotten. But every story I research, every moment in American wine on the West Coast I research, Zinfandel is not only always around, but it seems to be a stepping stone for winemakers in the region. It's like you come into the Napa Valley, you come into Lodi, you come into Livermore Valley, you come to the Central Coast, and there's Zinfandel. And when you're just getting started, you make Zinfandel. The Prisoner, it started out as Zinfandel. So I've always loved Zinfandel. Always loved it. And I've always wondered why it wasn't taken as seriously as I think or thought it should be taken. It's a thought that I have had for a very long time, but I never really said it out loud. I always thought about it, like, why isn't this? Because when you read about the history of Napa and in California, Zinfandel's there and then it's gone. You're like, but wait a second. It was there. It was doing well. It was thriving. What are we doing? And I understand, because as you read the history of this part of the world in wine, Andrei Chalachev and a few other people decided Cabernet Sauvignon was the variety here. So it became the variety in Napa. And then, of course, Napa being what Napa is, that kind of showed the rest of the country, I guess, like, oh, we should all do Cabernet Sauvignon, but it's not necessarily the case. But it was 2018 at VinePair, and we were sent a bottle of the Chateau Montelena Zinfandel. I was like, wait a second. This is wild. You know, they're famous for Chardonnay. They make really great Cabernet Sauvignon. What are they doing making a Zinfandel? And I popped that bottle and it blew my mind. It blew my mind. It's a beautiful wine. It's elegant. It's soft, yet rustic. It has a slight tannin structure, but not imposing tannin structure. It has shoulders. It has depth. It had aromas of black tea and sort of like ripe raspberries. It was absolutely beautiful. I wanted to have a meal with it. And I was like, wait a second. This is not like the Zinfandels I remember from the 90s. This is something different. And I realized at that moment that this variety could be more than the reputation that it has. So this year at VinePair, I asked if we could do a Zinfandel roundup because I just wanted to know. I wanted to know what's going on with Zinfandel in 2025. And I went online and looked, and I did not see anywhere or anyone that had done a thoughtful, like, look or tasting, or no one has like thought about Zinfandel enough to do like a tasting and to really kind of put it down on paper and see where we're at, a snapshot in history of the American wine experience and where Zinfandel lies, because it's one of our most famous varieties. It is one of our most historic varieties. It is not from here, but when it came here, it found its home here as a spiritual home. It comes from Croatia, but and I have a great podcast episode on that. Just listen to the Zinfandel podcast, go on Spotify, type Zinfandel, it'll pop up. But we need to talk about Zinfandel. So I tasted a bunch of them and I realized some pretty amazing things. And I want to talk about them. So the following are my hot takes on Zinfandel. Now know this. I love Zinfandel. I love Pinot Noir. I love Chardonnay. I love Sauvignon Blanc. I love Cabernet Sauvignon. I love Nebbiolo. I love Barbera. I love Dolcetto. I love Malbec. I love Tempranillo. I love Graziano. I love wine. So I'm not knocking any other wine, but I'm just want to kind of get a sense here of what Zinfandel is in our American wine drinking culture. I think it's important. So the following are my, over a dozen hot takes of why Zinfandel is awesome. The first thing is when I was tasting these Zinfandels, what I noticed a lot with these labels is an absolute reverence for the variety. These winemakers love Zinfandel. And it got me thinking, I think, Cabernet Sauvignon is Napa Valley's variety. It just is. But Zinfandel is California's variety. It's been in California for a very long time. Back in the day, the monks brought what we call the mission grape. It's actually called Listan Prieto. It comes from the northeastern part of Spain, made its way to the Canary Islands, and made its way to Mexico City, which the monks took up into the Sonoma area. And that's not really around anymore. Zinfandel made its way to the United States, to the West Coast via Boston, or the East Coast. And it made its way into the soils of Northern California and the Central Coast and other places on the West Coast and just thrived. It thrives in elevated soils, like high elevation. It thrives in fertile soils. It's been around for a long time. And it just seems that it came here and made a home for itself. And speaking about it making a home for itself, another thing I realized tasting all these Zinfandels by people that love making this wine is it is very terroir or sense of place driven. I mean, this is a Vitis vinifera variety. So it talks to the soil. It really does. And I've had Zinfandels that were 13.5% alcohol, 14% alcohol, and 15% alcohol. It seems to be 15 seems to be like, don't go above 15 because we're starting to lose Zinfandel, but like 14.5 and up to 15, it kind of does okay. But no matter what, even if it's in that 14.5 or 15, it's different depending on where it's grown. I mean, it really does give terroir. It's awesome. And different Zinfandels are great for different occasions based on how they taste. Like we have a terroir driven variety just chilling in California. Like they're all terroir driven, but you know what I'm talking about. Like Burgundian vibes. Another thing I noticed tasting a lot of Zinfandel is it has a plethora of styles. I mean, it's barrel aged, it's stainless steel aged, there are single vineyard bottlings, there are plot bottlings like Climate style, there are rosés made from Zinfandel. We all know White Zinfandel, but that's just a rosé and sweet. So dry rosés can be made from Zinfandel, sweeter rosés can be made from Zinfandel. Right Turn Wine Co. out of Sonoma makes a carbonic Zinfandel that looks like a beautiful dark fire engine red rosé, almost like a Tavel. And it has like tannin and it's deep and beautiful and almost peppery. And it could give me a meal with that and chill it down a little bit and forget about it. I even saw a dessert wine made from Zinfandel. Like it's extremely versatile. I also realized, and this is going to be a general statement, and it's not really 100% true, but you kind of get what I'm saying, is everybody makes Zinfandel in California. Not everybody, but it's like, when you think a winemaker just makes a certain, like a Sauvignon Blanc or a Chardonnay or a Pinot Noir or Cab and Pinot, like their lineup is sort of the classic stuff, there's often a Zinfandel in the lineup. It doesn't get all the attention, but it's there. I'm finding that like some of the Zinfandels that were sent in, I was like, oh, I didn't realize this winemaker made a Zinfandel, and it's delicious. So it seems like the reverence for this variety, it's living it's like right now still living in California, like the reverence for it. It's cool. And we're seeing this reverence in real time. Just in 2019, Gallo acquired Ravenswood. Now, Ravenswood is famous. You probably know about Ravenswood because you see it in the supermarkets. But Joel Peterson is known, I don't know if they call him the godfather of Zen, I can't remember, but he's so important because he did site-specific Zinfandel in the modern era. And that got lost for a little while. But in 2019, Gallo acquired Ravenswood, called Joel and said, hey, man, let's go back to those site-specific Zinfandels that you're known for. And he was like, let's go. So now Ravenswood has on the market site-specific single vineyard Zinfandels from Joel Peterson Joel Peterson oversaw the winemaking through Michael Eddy, who is a former winemaker at Louis Martini. Anyway, they're beautiful. I reviewed one of them. They're all very good, but it's an exciting time. And I was actually able to go out and celebrate the kind of opening of these bottles. And you could really feel, again, that reverence. And you could feel an excitement like, oh my gosh, Zinfandel. Remember Zinfandel? This is so exciting. It's really exciting. And speaking of reverence, like there are wineries like Sagacio who primarily do Zinfandel. Their Zinfandels are amazing. And I was able to review one of those as well. They're all very good, but they've known for a long time how special this variety is. Okay. The next thing I'm going to say is kind of wild. Ready? I believe Zinfandel is really what Americans want to drink. Whoa, Keith. Whoa. But again, remember, I'm not talking down about to any wine. What I'm saying is, if you think about where we're going with trends, like white wine right now is very popular. Why? Acidity. Before white wine was very popular, the American drinking public was getting into lighter wines. Gamay from Beaujolais used to be, I could barely sell it in my wine shop, and now it's expensive wine because everybody wants it. I believe Zinfandel, being a variety that has a good amount of acidity, soft tannin structure, it has a vibe and softness to it, but a depth to it that is like, it's great for a weeknight dinner. I mean, it's great for like burgers, pizza, steak, chicken, fish. It's just a vegetable dish. It's really a diverse variety for the American weekday table. So I don't think it's like Americans want that more than anything else, but I think when you drink a good Zinfandel, you're like, oh, this is like, I'm going to have this again. Another thing I realized when sipping all these Zinfandels is that there's no pressure to make a Zinfandel a certain way. Now, if it's Cabernet Sauvignon, that's where the money's being made. And if you oak the hell out of a Zin, you sort of start losing the Zin a little bit. Not a big deal, but that's what happens. But because Zinfandel has always kind of played second fiddle to Cabernet Sauvignon, and now you know what? Not only Cabernet Sauvignon, but Pinot Noir and Chardonnay and all that, there's really no expectation. So all these beautiful like expressions can be drawn out. It's whatever the winemaker wants to do. It's kind of amazing. And one of the most profound things I realized from sipping all of these Zinfandels is, wine lovers, Zinfandel is the Thanksgiving wine. It just is. It's full-bodied. It has acidity. It has complexity. It has aromas. It hits multiple palate preferences. You can buy a lot of it. There is amazing wine. For example, the Klein family makes an amazing Zinfandel from old vines out of Contra Costa, an AVA that is almost an urban environment. That bottle is $15. VinePair gave it a 95. It's delicious. And you get a case of that, and there's your Thanksgiving. And it will pair with basically everything on the Thanksgiving table. The cranberry sauce, the gravy, the turkey, white and brown meat. Forget about it. Cranberry, all of it. And I want to end on this. Go to VinePair's website and search the best Zinfandels of 2025. Read that list. Check out those scores. I believe 1,000% in every score given to every Zinfandel. And I'm saying this because you're going to see scores that are high for wines that are not expensive because they're delicious. Zinfandel can be this good. It's a wonderful variety, a wonderful wine with a wide spectrum of offerings. It's awesome. And Zinfandel is not disappearing. It's not going anywhere. It gets ripped up all the time, but it doesn't go anywhere. It will always be part of the landscape of California from the north all the way to the south, or pretty much like the Central Coast. Like it's always going to be part of our wine drinking culture. So we might as well start celebrating this variety. And yes, there has been a history of ripping these vines out. And as much as I love Cabernet Sauvignon, I love Merlot, Syrah, everything, it's just a bit of a tragedy that a variety that does so well is often ripped out. Where in places like Bordeaux and Barolo and Burgundy, the varieties that have been there forever have been the lifeblood of those places. Pinot Noir and Chardonnay were born in Burgundy. Cabernet Franc was not born in Bordeaux. It made its way from, they believe, the Basque region of Spain. Check out that episode on Wine 101, the Cab Franc episode. Just search it on Spotify. So even though we can thank Croatia for letting us have this awesome vine that is also Primitivo in the southern part of Italy, it's called Cirlianak Kristalinski in Croatia. I'm probably butchering that, but it means the red grape of this town. It's literally part of the fabric of the culture of this part of Croatia. But Zinfandel it loves our soils. It thrives here. And I think it's time to start celebrating it. So those are my hot takes. I hope you enjoyed them. I wonder what you think about them. Comment below. Let me know what you think. Go on Instagram, VinePair Keith. Tell me what you think. And let's all drink some Zinfandel together. Let's drink Zin.